Pow, and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. My name is, of course, Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram. Today our Marvel Legends reviews continue with this Cull Obsidian Build-A-Figure wave, aka the second Avengers Infinity War wave of the year. Now we are getting onto the comic book based character figures from this wave, starting off with Marvel's Black Knight. Now Black Knight has a little bit of a history in the comics. He goes way back into the 1950s. I think 3 or 4 different people have been Black Knight in the comics. Hopefully I'll get into that as we go along. I think that's also the reason why we get a couple of interchangeable heads, as that is different looks that he's had throughout the years. He also comes with that black blade, obviously made by the legend that is Merlin, the ebony blade, which can cut through anything and absorbs energies and stuff like that. But again, I'll get into that as we go along. Also, we have the Build-A-Figure piece for Cull Obsidian. So without further ado, look at the box. On the side, we get a picture of Black Knight, of course. On the back, you get a little read-up. And then, as always, you get a list of all the figures in the wave you need to complete the Cull Obsidian Build-A-Figure. Today, we are reviewing Black Knight. More pictures, and then, yeah, there we go. The box is looking nice and full, which I always like. Interchangeable heads, which I always like. Let's get this guy open. Pow, and here we have Black Knight out of the packaging, and I'm not going to lie, I wasn't massively excited for this figure. Of course, it was part of the wave. I wanted to build Cull Obsidian, so I was always going to get it to have a look at, but would it remain in my collection? And to be fair, now it's out of the packaging, I do quite like the way it looks. I do think the head sculpts that you get with it are very, very good, and it definitely stands out when you put it amongst other figures. So let's talk about those accessories. Of course, first and foremost, a Build-A-Figure piece for the Cull Obsidian Build-A-Figure. Look forward to reviewing this guy. He looks like a beast. Say, subscribe to the channel, all of that good stuff. Find the video playlist. That review is coming soon. Now, he also comes with 2 interchangeable heads, which I'll zoom in and show you separately. And then, of course, he comes with this sword. Now, this isn't just any sword. This is the Ebony Blade, an enchanted sword that was made from a meteorite by the wizard Merlin. Now, it's virtually indestructible, and it can cut through anything, and it can deflect and basically absorb energy fields and energy beams using its sort of magical abilities. So it does have a little bit of history in the comics, and it is very important to the Black Knight character. Obviously, Black Blade, Black Knight. Now, he does have a sheath so you can store it on him, and he always, a sort of knight character always looks good when he can be posed holding his sword, even if it is sort of in his harness. And yeah, the head sculpts are really, really good. I'm going to zoom in and show you. Nothing special with the body. We've seen this body before with Hobgoblin and Green Goblin, and I think even Dread Knight that come in that sort of Raft box set maybe a couple of years ago now, maybe last year, I can't remember. But this body's definitely been reused before, so it's nothing new there. But yeah, this cape, by the way, is a separate piece. So there's a plug in the back, and the cape is like a soft plastic, which I actually don't mind when it's like that. And because it's not the type of cape that droops on the floor, he can just sort of sit on his shoulders nicely and doesn't interfere with like articulation and stuff. I'm assuming as you start posing him around, it might pop off, but it's a simple case of putting it back on. And there's his sword sheathed nice and properly. So let me zoom in and show you these head sculpts, because you get 3. And I think when they revealed this, that was the surprise, we're going to get 3. And I'll sort of get into a who is he segment, sort of explain why and who the different portrayals of Black Knight are. But yeah, this is the head it comes packaged with. So I'm just going to pick the camera up and zoom in and see if it will show you properly, if it will focus. So I really like the head sculpt. Not much detail to the sort of facial area, but the eyes do stand out very nice amongst the helmet. And it's a sort of gold metallic on like a blue helmet with those sort of medieval wings. Now, I'm not too sure which character is most famous for having this particular helmet. My probably guess would be the Dane Whitman, the 3rd version. But yeah, we shall see. So that's one head sculpt. This is the second head sculpt, and I do apologise if the camera's a bit wobbly. I'm literally just holding it. And again, blue helmet with a gold metallic sort of outline. You can't see through the helmet, so you can't see no eyes or nothing. They are just black sort of gaps or slits, I suppose. And then this sort of I'm guessing it's an eagle. On top of the helmet is like made of a plastic, so it's a soft plastic that can be bent. So be careful that doesn't get ripped off when you're taking it out of packaging. And I think this is the first sort of appearance look. I definitely think this is the Sir Percy, that 6th century knight who served King Arthur. I think this is his look, and this is the helmet that the second Black Knight, the evil version, found but wasn't worthy of wearing, or something like that. Again, my knowledge isn't amazing on Black Knight, but yeah, this is definitely a very iconic look for Black Knight. Let's look at the third one. Now, this is the third head sculpt. Now, I thought this was the most modern head, but with that facial expression, it could be the evil Black Knight, the Nathan Garrett Black Knight. But again, I don't know for fact. This is just me over-analysing and guessing. So if you do know the facts, please let me know in the comments below. But yeah, this is sort of more of a simplistic helmet. He doesn't have those sort of ear or wing pieces, but he's got his very evil expression. So is it the evil Black Knight? Because one of the Black Knights was evil. I don't know. It does look like a more modern helmet to me though. And I should mention as well, I can't do too much because I'm holding the camera, but the articulation on all three of the heads is really good. Like even that big chunky helmet doesn't really hinder articulation, in case you were interested. So leaving that last helmet on, I guess now would be the best time to sort of ask the question. Black Knight, who is he? So this is a part of the video where we ask the question, who is he? And I try and give you a little bit of information about the character that this figure is inspired by. So, Black Knight, who is he? There has been a few different people to take on the mantle of Black Knight throughout the years of Marvel Comics, and I'll try and mention them all, but the first time we seen Black Knight was in Black Knight #1, way back in May of 1955. The first Black Knight was Sir Percy, a 6th century knight who served the court of King Arthur, recruited by the wizard Merlin himself, and was the first to wield the ebony blade. The second Black Knight was Nathan Garrett, a professor and a descendant of Sir Percy, who found Percy's tomb with the ebony blade, but Garrett's evil tendencies made him unworthy of wielding the sword, so calling himself Black Knight, Garrett embarked on a life of crime to spite his ancestor. Garrett joined the supervillain team of the Masters of Evil. Garrett was seriously wounded in a fight with Iron Man, and on his deathbed expressed to his nephew that he should restore the family legacy and take on the name of Black Knight and turn him into a hero once again, which led to the third Black Knight, Dane Whitman, who did eventually join the Avengers. There you go, so I hope that helped. Again, I do not claim to be an expert, but it is nice to have a little bit of information about the characters these figures are inspired by. So let's get into some random comparisons. I'm going to bring out Captain Britain, UK repping, because I do believe this guy has some Excalibur sort of history, definitely spent some time in England, but the character of Dane Whitman, the most modern Black Knight, isn't British. He's American, but I do think he spent some time with Excalibur. And then obviously another Brit, we have Blade. Yes, Blade is a Brit, I do believe. So yeah, here he is, just amongst some random comic book characters. And as I've mentioned, Black Knight did spend some time with like the old school Avengers. Like he was an Avenger with the Captain Americas and the Wasps and the Hulks and Thors and stuff. So he will fit into a more old school Avengers lineup as well. But without pulling any, I was going to pull out one of the old Hobgoblins or Green Goblins, but I've got them displayed on my shelf and I don't want to ruin it. So I'm just going to bring in some other figures from this wave that I've already reviewed, including Thor. And if anyone caught my Thor review, you could tell he's a bit wobbly because I've got a loose leg syndrome, which is very disappointing. Ant-Man, however, I really liked. And then also let's bring in Black Widow, who her staff is now broken too, and she's holding them as stingers. So yeah, here you go. Here's some characters. I do have Wasp as well, of course, and I want to put Wasp on a flight stand, but for now she's over here. But yeah, these are the figures from the Cull Obsidian wave so far. So if you want to see reviews of all of these, including Wasp, then do check out the videos tab, and there is always a playlist of all of these reviews. A couple more reviews to do, and then we've got the Cull Obsidian Build-A-Figure. Well, I say a couple more, just Malekith left to review, and then we can review Cull Obsidian. So please, as always, subscribe to the channel. It is much appreciated. Let me know in the comments below. Do you like this character? my opinions are, it's not one I thought I needed in my collection, but now it's here, it does look pretty good and I'm happy with the figure, and it'll probably stay in the collection as well. And I know a couple of people might want to get a couple of these figures so you can display with each different head option, because they are some really good interchangeable heads. I think that's the best part about this figure. If this figure just come with one head, then it would have been, yeah, it was sound, but now you've got different display options for your favourite representation of Black Knight. So yeah, I've been rambling as I always do, but I'm going to shut up. As always, subscribe, and I shall see you on the next one.